are doing a full rake on bunkers together, and then we'll finish edging to just the 3 holes at 9, 10, 12. Back at 12. Okay, cool. Gavin, you are mowing rough. Joe, you're spraying, and me and Richard are on water. Questions? Get after it.
Right here. For fairway?
Yeah. No, I think we'll hold off and do it.
My name is Doug Massey. I'm the equipment manager at Rainier Golf and Country Club. I was a manager at Broadmoor Golf Club in Seattle. My day-to-day duties, first thing in the morning, I'm here, I open up the shop, I get everything going, get the doors open so the guys can come in and get ready. Basically, every day is a little bit different, and in some ways it's the same. My job is to set these guys up to succeed and keep them safe, and so I'm checking and double checking a lot of things when I first get here, and I check the same things when I leave here the night before. So yeah, there's a lot of that going on, and but I have lists of things to do, priorities, and then I have not so items that really aren't high on my priority list that I save for rainy days or days that when it's getting slower. So. The blades that we have multiple different types of mowers. We have rotary mowers that spin in this direction like a lawnmower from your house. Then we have reel type mowers where it's a cylinder of like this with a bed knife at the bottom, and we're shearing grass at very low heights. Sharpening that equipment is critical. It's crucial to the health of the grass. Foremost, if we're tearing the grass out, it's like pulling your hair out. If we're yanking it out because the blades aren't sharp or our machine's not working properly, is detrimental to turf grass. Then we spend a ton of money on the other side on chemicals and everything trying to heal it up, watering. You know, there's a lot of other work that goes into it. But so we can nip that at the bud, so to speak. By keeping the machines sharp and making a really precise cut on the grass. It's very important to do.
So up here we've got the map of the golf course from back when the irrigation system was installed in 2002. And all the dots are all the sprinkler heads on the golf course. I think there's around 1,300 of them. And everything runs off of percent run times. So You can see here the greens last night ran from 1 to 14 minutes depending on the head. So I can explode that out from greens and dial just into 1 green. And then the 4 heads that run 1 green, you can see that the screen's now zeroed in on 1 green. You can see how this map's not current. This bunker was removed probably 12 years ago. Actually, probably 15 years ago. But anyway, so we've got 4 heads that water 1 green. And then last night, 1 head ran for 8 minutes, another head ran for 4 minutes and 42 seconds, 7:36 and 5:42. So it's all adjusted off of percent run times. And then, so the back right on number 1's just holding a little bit more moisture than I prefer. And so I'm just going to come in here and change that 50 to a 45. So it ran at 4:42 last night, and then now it's going to be 4:12 tonight. That's not really going to make any kind of impact over the rest of the year, but then going forward in subsequent years, when the irrigation system starts running in April, that just 5% less run time is going to keep it from getting too much water in that back right area. Richard Cassins, the superintendent at Rainier Golf and Country Club. I've been here for 17 years now. I've been the superintendent for 5 years. I worked at Newcastle for a couple years before that, and I started working at Manitou Golf and Country Club over in Spokane. My parents were members there, so I grew up playing junior golf there, and then started working there in high school on the maintenance crew. Well, just kind of making sure playing conditions are what we want every day. So, every day I'm going out there and watering greens with one of my assistants, checking moisture levels, making sure the greens are rolling the way we want them, conditions are firm, playing fast. We're just trying to provide the best playing conditions we can throughout the year, no matter what month of the year that is. So I'm in control of all the purchasing, so all the inputs that go into the grass out there, just, again, everything comes into making the optimal playing conditions. The budget's $1.7 million. Well, really replacing our irrigation system is going to be the biggest thing that's on the wish list of things that we need to do. Our irrigation system was put in 2002, 2003, and so there's just starting to be a lot of components to it that are failing now. The valves aren't able to be shut off and isolated a lot of times. Yeah, so just a lot of components in the irrigation system that are starting to show their age. We replaced all the systems at the pump house about a year or so ago, and so that's great. That's all working really well and will do so for the next 20 years. But all the pipe in the ground, the irrigation heads, all those are just really due to be replaced so that we can get better coverage out there on the golf course. If you see that part where we were talking about adjusting irrigation run times, all of that is not going to be such a juggling act once we get a new irrigation system, because water is just going to be put out much more uniformly across the golf course. We'll stop having leaks. The new system will be a high-density polyethylene pipe that's in the ground, so that pipe's welded together. It's going to last our lifetimes. So then it's really from there on, it's just a matter of keeping the sprinkler heads themselves up to date with technology for just having, uniform water distribution. Right now we've got 15. We're down one person. So we run pretty lean compared to most golf courses, and that's where, I'm pretty well a functional person of the crew every single morning, and we get by. Yeah, we do have really good retention. Yeah, a lot of guys have been here for quite a while. We have a couple new people. But we do a really good job of holding on to our staff. We really don't see too many people leaving. And especially once people have been here for 4 or 5 years, and then they start to kind of get into the vacation time. And once you get somebody here for 10 years, and then they're at 3 weeks vacation, pretty well got them locked in at that point. The golf course itself is about 94, 97 acres. How much of that is, well, there's really not a lot that's native in that. We're a pretty tight golf course. It's all residential around us. So, yeah, we're maintaining close to all of that acreage. And, our greens are 150 square feet, 150,000 square feet, including the collars. Our tees and fairways and approaches come out to about 23 acres, right around 1 million square feet. I'm not sure really how many square feet of rough we've got from there. But I would think that the bunker areas, it's probably in the mid-70s, about half that of what the green square footage is. It's probably pretty accurate. The number one thing members could do would be in the winter months. So areas where people walk on and off the green in the same spots, like 3 green, 5 green, so you're getting double foot traffic in those traffic areas with the walk on and the walk off. It's kind of a unique thing. So the more people can try and not walk on the green surfaces in those instances and walk off on the surrounds would really help things. And then also greens like number 4, you can really kind of see a wear pattern develop in the winter months where people come around the bunker on the back right, and then they cut across the green to 5T, and you can just kind of really see how it shows up, that additional foot traffic. Right side of 12 green in the winter, we see that as well. During the summer months, it really just comes down to that same old, let's fix our ball marks, let's rake the bunkers, let's fill our divots, just that same routine. So when it comes to raking the bunkers and what we're looking for, you're trying to get that bunker back into the condition it was before you walked in it, nestled your feet down, and took your shot. So it may not be just one hand pushing the sand with the rake to correct that. You may have to move the sand back and forth a little bit where you nestled your feet in, where you took your golf shot. In those areas where you just walked in flat-footed, you probably can just push the sand away from you with the rake as you work your way back out of the bunker. Pushing the sand definitely gives you a little bit better outcome when it comes to raking the bunker, versus pulling with the rake. When it comes to fixing ball marks, you really want to just think of it as you're trying to put the grass back where it came from. So you'll see, the ball, all the grass is pushed away from where it landed, the direction the shot was going. And so you want to just work that. So you just want to work the grass back the direction that it came from. So you're taking your ball mark tool, putting it behind, and then kind of twisting just left, right. Not pulling up, that's when you're going to sever the roots. You're just trying to kind of work it back. And a lot of times you can go in there with just your thumbs and kind of push that grass back. When I worked at the PGA Championship in 2007, they sent us out to fix ball marks, and they said, we just want you using your fingers. Greens were pretty firm. You couldn't do a lot, but you definitely could still just with the tips of your thumbs kind of move ball marks back in a little bit. Replacing divots and how you handle it's definitely going to be a moving target, and it changes depending on what kind of divot you take. Any divots that are just a small little divot where you just kind of skiff the ground a little bit, there's nothing to pick up, just put a tiny little bit of sand in there and smooth it out with your foot. We don't ever want piles of sand left on the fairway, because that sand will just be going straight through our fairway mower and it will dull the cutting units. Just kind of wear down the mowers. On all conditions, we never want to leave piles. But then if you take kind of your standard divot that's maybe a 1/2 inch thick, or a 1/4 to a 1/2 inch thick, those in the winter months, I put them back because I think they can still grow. In the summer months, those are just going to dry out, so they're really best just being filled with sand and seed in the summer. The divots that are, those big beaver pelts that are going to kind of make your wrist hurt after having one of those, I try and put those back all year long. The crows will have a tendency to pop divots over and look underneath them to see if they can find some grubs or anything like that. That's just kind of part of the game. But another added bonus of people, whenever they're filling divots, if they're able to take their divot and just toss it off the rough, goes a long way for keeping the golf course clean. We just don't have labor to blow divots off of fairways in the weekends, and you know, by late in the day on Sunday, the fairways are starting to be pretty littered with divots. Well, it was a great experience working the 2007 PGA Championship. Tiger Woods won by being 7 under. My friends of mine that knew that I was over there asked me who was going to win by how much, and I said Tiger at 7 under, so just a lucky guess, but I was spot on. But it was just a really cool experience getting to interact with people from Bethpage and just all over the place, and then seeing the maintenance facility of Southern Hills over there in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and just how they do things. And the best part, anybody that's in this profession that wants to do something like that, go the week before the tournament, see the prep. That's where you learn something. You don't learn anything the week of. You're just out there mowing and doing what we already do every day. But it's that like 14 days before the tournament where cool things are happening and you're going to get some really good takeaways from it on what they do. Like leading up to the PGA Championship, 8 days before the tournament, you know, they just ran all the heads on all the greens until water was coming out of the drains. So you're talking about heads running for 30 minutes on all the greens, and that's just to get water down and all the way down into the soil, so then that water can slowly be evaporating back up for the plant to use as they dry those greens down for tournament conditions.
My name's Jamison Petrie. I'm the general manager of Rainier Golf and Country Club. I have been with Rainier for 19 years, having started as a server back in 2006 and transitioned into the office, and from there went into the catering position, into membership director, and then on to operating manager, and I have been in the general manager position now for a little over 2 years. It's fantastic working with Richard. Watching his excitement for being able to progress into new pieces on the course, challenging himself as to how great he can make the conditions of the course on a regular basis. It's fun to see his energy and his creativity with it. And he's just everything from the course to the admin pieces on the backside. He's a great team member. The greens department, yes, absolutely has the largest portion of the budget. Richard takes a big lead on it. As far as any new pieces he may want to bring in the following year, but collectively it's a team effort. But he does take a strong lead in it. The times that members will bring out guests and guests haven't played here for a certain amount of time, there's just constant positive feedback with all of it, and I think it's a real contribution to how he's developed his team and their daily tasks and the new pieces that he's willing to test out and kind of challenge himself with. This is definitely an easy one to let Richard have the reins with, and we do check-ins pretty regularly. And so that's one of the things that I appreciate with his management style too, is that he does communicate really well. He's not afraid to come ask questions or say, hey, this is going on. So it provides a good level of understanding, I think, between the two of us, and definitely a level of comfort that I know he's open and transparent with me, and so it's easier to let him do his thing. You know, Richard, when he might be down a team member, he takes care of the hiring process, and so even at that, it's usually 1 or 2 positions at a time. I think it speaks volumes to what they do as a management team out in the Greens building, that they do have so many tenured staff members. I think it also speaks to what they can do collectively as a team, because you're not going through that retraining process on a regular basis. They have it so well dialed in. Far less comment cards come in for the Greens department, and it's usually something more informational, like a recent one that we received about a beehive. So it's not generally any complaints or anything. We do receive, I will say, we receive comment cards for the Greens department, just in how much somebody's enjoying the condition of the course.